You have likely heard the famous words of the Lord Jesus Christ, "I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." And again, his instruction to his disciples, "He who has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one."
Critics often argue that these verses prove Christianity is just as violent as any other bloody religion. Worse yet, some members of the church have used these exact words to justify armed campaigns, only to expand political dominion.
But what was the Lord truly saying? Let's look at the context.
I did not come to bring peace, but a sword.
In Matthew 10:34, the Lord said, "Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." However, the very next two verses reveal that Jesus was not talking about a literal weapon. Instead, he used the sword as a metaphor for division. He continues, "For I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies will be those of his own household."
In Luke chapter 12, Jesus addresses the exact same topic, but this time he drops the metaphor and uses the literal word division. Do you suppose that I came to give peace on earth? I tell you, not at all, but rather division.
A sword cuts things in two. It separates. Jesus was warning that his truth would cause a radical separation among people. Families would divide over him. This prophecy was fulfilled when the persecution of the early church began. Believers were disowned and even handed over to authorities by their own families. We still see this today in regions where Christianity is forbidden, leading to social casting out in some cultures or death in others. Even in secular societies, choosing Christ can alienate believers from their old communities.
He who has no sword. Was Jesus forming a militia?
Now let's look at the second passage, Luke 22:36-38. Then he said to them, "But now he who has a money bag, let him take it, and likewise a knapsack. And he who has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. For I say to you, that this which is written must still be accomplished in me." And he was numbered with the transgressors. So they said, "Lord, look, here are 2 swords." And he said to them, "It is enough." As always, context is king. Taking these words out of context makes it easy to twist their meaning. Jesus was obviously not forming an armed militia. His disciples were mostly fishermen, not trained in battle. More importantly, when they told him they had a total of 2 swords, Jesus replied, "It is enough." 2 swords for 11 men untrained in battle is hardly an armed crusade. So, what was actually happening?
This conversation took place right before Jesus was arrested. He was preparing his disciples to what they were about to face in the immediate future. Previously, when he had sent them out to evangelize, he told them not to take provision, but to rely on God providing for them through men's kindness. However, now that they were going to be scattered out and hunted down, they needed to be prepared ahead with money and knapsacks.
But why the swords? The reason is given in the very next sentence. For all that was written about him must be fulfilled. Jesus explicitly quotes Isaiah 53:12, which prophesied that the Messiah would be numbered with the transgressors. By having swords present among his group, the Roman and Jewish authorities had the legal pretext to arrest him as a dangerous rebel leader, fulfilling the prophecy perfectly. The swords were there to fulfill a prophetic requirement, not for combat. We know this because the moment Peter actually tries to use the sword to fight back, cutting off the ear of the high priest's servant, Jesus sharply rebukes him, saying, "Put back your sword in its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword."
Conclusion.
When read in context, the words of Jesus had nothing to do with armed warfare.
Sadly, this hasn't stopped critics from accusing Christ of promoting violence. Even worse, it hasn't stopped corrupt religious leaders and political actors from justifying launching military campaigns under the banner of Christ.
In this video, we are not addressing the necessity of armed forces to defend the persecuted. But we are issuing this warning. If someone stirs your emotions, tries to recruit you into taking up arms, allegedly to defend Christians or Christianity, and claims Jesus called us to do this, then know they are twisting Jesus' words, and you need to question their true motives. We should support our persecuted brothers and sisters, but if someone chooses a military path, they cannot use the words of Christ to justify it.